Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message reads like this. Hello African Confessions, please post for me as hidden identity. I have come here on your platform so that I can try to share my story with you, and I hope that I am going to get help from you and my fellow people, because I am troubled as we are speaking right now. And as we are speaking right now, I do not even understand where my life is headed to, and sometimes I even wish that it is far much better that I end my own life. My story goes on like this. I am a young lady who is only aged 28 years old. I am not yet married. What happens is that whomever I try to date, like when that guy that I'll be dating starts to tell me that they want to get married to me, once that person has dedicated their life to me, then something bad will always happen in our relationship, and then that person will leave me. And when that guy that I will be dating leaves me for a very long time, I would find it very difficult for me to date anyone else because of the pain that the guy would have given me. This has happened to me several times. It has even reached a point whereby in my life, after sleeping with a guy, before you have even left the guy's place, the guy can even start talking with other of his girlfriends when you are listening. When you ask him, he will just say, "You are not nice in bed, so what do you want from me?" And this thing, it is not happening to me only. This is like a family thing that has been troubling us for a very long time, and it has caused a lot of pain to us, and including my sisters as well. All the girls in our family, we are not married, and we can't even have any stable relationships. Two of my sisters have children, but their fathers disowned them, and these children are being looked after by our parents. As for me, things are not going my way, and I am having a very hard time to find a true man who can love me. My younger sister, she is only 17 years old, but she has started being a prostitute, and she has been going to taverns. This whole situation, it has troubled me a lot, because I do not even understand where it comes from, and sometimes what I am told, I do not believe it anymore, because it is not easy for us to believe that our own biological parents can actually use us as a sacrifice for them to be rich, and they are not that very rich, but they are managing life. When we were growing up, our parents, they were just in the middle class. We were just living a life whereby our parents were trying to earn a meaningful living. I was satisfied with what we had, but it seemed like both of my parents, they were never satisfied with all that they had. Then they went, my brother, and they went to do those money-making rituals. The prophet that I last spoke to, I had to travel to this other area that is called Mondoro. When I went there, the prophet then said that my father, he was the one who went out seeking after these lucky charms from the white garment churches. And when he was told that it was quite difficult for him to get that lucky charm oil in church, unless if he tries some of these Pentecostal churches that are now available all over the country. So for a very long time, that prophet told me that my father, he had been visiting a lot of these prophets from the Pentecostal churches, and unfortunately what happened was that one of the prophet whom he visited then directed him to go and seek out for help from the traditional healers. The prophet that was assisting me told me that when my father went to the traditional healer, he was given 2 dolls. These 2 dolls that were given to him, he was made to marry them, like to join them together. And when he was marrying them, it meant that the male doll will always be married to the children that will be born by his own sons as well. If they are boys, they will be married to the female doll. If they are girls that will be born, they will be married off to the female if there are girls that will be born into the family, they will be married off to those dolls like the goblins, the Tokoloshes that my father was given by that traditional healer. And right now, our father's Tokoloshes, they regularly sleep with us as if they are our physical husbands. I used to believe that this thing, it does not exist, but on the day that my sister told me that one day it is going to come to you, and we were actually joking about this story because my sister, she was complaining and she was saying that each and every time when she is fast asleep, she keep on having all of these dreams whereby she sees this other ex-husband of hers, and that ex-husband of hers will be coming back to her and begging for her love back. And whenever they start making out, that is when she will see that she won't be sleeping with her ex-husband, but it will be one of those Tokoloshes that are quite scary to look at. So we were just laughing. Then on that same night, when I went to bed, I also saw one of this other guy. I think that I dated this guy for about 6 months, and the way that he dumped me, this guy, it gave me a lot of pain because he had promised to love me and to get married to me, but he just dumped me. On that night when I was fast asleep, I was quite happy because this guy, he came, and in my dreams he told me that he had already spoken with my father and he was getting ready to get married to me, and he wanted to pay for my bride price. My brother, whilst I was excited like that in my own dreams, I then saw that the man, he then started removing his clothes, and instead of me like seeing a normal human body, I then saw that this thing that was pretending to be something like a man was not a man at all, but it was a funny looking creature that didn't even have the normal skin. Its skin, it was really hard, and the face, I could not see it because there was this darkness that was covering the face. And when I woke up, my brother, I really fell sick. I got so sick that I could not even walk, and I was bleeding heavily like I was someone who had lost their pregnancy. And the thing that surprised me is that at that time I was staying in a different city, and for my parents to know about this story, I would have been the one who would have told them, because when I woke up, I didn't even have the energy to tell any of my sisters so that they can tell our parents that I was really sick. Before I had even called them, I heard that the car that was like parking outside of the house that I was renting at that time, it belonged to my father, and they told me that they had traveled through the night coming to the city where I was staying because they just felt that I was not okay. And my mother, she then prepared some water for me so that I can bath. My brother, the moment that I touched the water, the moment that the blood that was coming out of my private parts, it just stopped like that. And from there on, they told me that they wanted to go with me to a traditional healer so that I can be sorted out. And I didn't understand what they meant when they were saying that, so that I can be sorted out. And my brother, when they went with me to that traditional healer, even though I was asking them like, don't you go to church? And they said that yes, we go to church, but don't you know that at night most of the people that visit traditional healers, they are Christians. They do this at night. So you have to be very clever, because God only helps those ones that help themselves. After we had returned from that traditional healer, my parents, they just stopped and parked the car outside the gate, and they said that they could not get out of the house, so they left me and they returned back. My brother, they just came to the city where I was staying, and then they took me to a traditional healer. I don't know if they had already been in communication with that traditional healer. After that, they didn't even want to get out of their car so that they can see if I was okay. They traveled again throughout the day, going back to the city where they have their beautiful house. This pained me a lot because I then met this other guy. Then what happened with this guy is that he told me that he wanted to be with me, but all of a sudden, my brother, I started to have those same dreams whereby a man will just be visiting me late at night. So this guy, he was someone who loved praying a lot. Me and him, we then started going to the same church because he invited me to his church. And in their church, from the very first day that I started worshiping at his church, I started to feel sick whilst I was in church. I got so hot that I even went outside just for a few minutes so that I can catch a breather. And my brother, after church, that was when my mom called me back home and they told me that I am not supposed to go to that church anymore because this is a satanic church. Because if this was not a satanic church, then why did I get so sick whilst I was in church? And I don't know if they did something to that guy whom I was in love with, because this guy, even though he had said that he was going to understand my situation and he was going to pray about it, the next time when I was returning back from my parents, I tried communicating with him, because when I was still back home, I tried calling him and he was not answering my calls. But this time around, when I was on the taxi going back to the place where I am renting, the guy then told me that I was supposed to stop calling him because he had been informed by some of the people that he is in the same prayer group with, that this relationship of his that he has with me, it is not a good relationship, because after I had returned back to my parents, he started to experience a lot of spiritual attacks. So this is how this guy dumped me, and this is like the way that all the guys that I have dated ended up dumping me. I also wish that if there is someone who can expose my father's deeds and even to destroy whatever he has, maybe me and my sister, we can actually start enjoying life again. I am simply looking for any kind of help. If there is anyone who can expose my father, I'll be very grateful. Please post for me. Please post for me. Please ask for help. Let the whole world come to my rescue. If anybody knows how they can help me, I'll be forever grateful. I'll be following through in the comment section.